You're watching Dallas Mavericks Today by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Chase Senior. The Mavs have been busy on NBA trade deadline day, and they just pulled off a blockbuster deal. Kristaps Porzingis going to the Washington Wizards in exchange for KP going to our nation's capital. The Mavericks are bringing in Spencer Dinwiddie and Davis Bertans. So you get a rotational guard who's a very good scorer in Spencer Dinwiddie and a very good shooter around Luka Doncic and Davis Bertans, and you get rid of the Kristaps Porzingis contract. Harrison, you've been a Mavs fan for a long time.
Yep.
Your reaction to this blockbuster deal that set the Chat Sports studios in shambles. They were going crazy.
Look, my initial reaction is, wow, I did not think KP would get traded here when he's been healthy this year. That's always been the problem. When he's actually had a nice little bounce back here, averaging like 19 and 8, been a good rim protector for Dallas. You obviously lose some of that. I think when it comes down to it, Chase, from Dallas's point of view with KP, and we'll talk about Dinwiddie and Bertans and how they fit, of course, moving forward here, they were tired of the injuries.
Yep.
The Dallas Mavericks got tired of KP missing games, and it wasn't even major injuries for the most part. It's like a bone bruise keeps him out for 3 weeks. A tight hamstring, he's out for 2 weeks. It's like stuff that should miss a game or two is like triple for him. And look, that's not all his fault. He's 7'3". I mean, you get these bigs that are super athletic, they're going to get banged up. The Mavs got tired of it, though. We talked about it recently on Dallas Mavericks Today. He's been available in less than for only 2/3 of games since he's been a Dallas Maverick.
Yeah.
That's not enough. Like, you expected to have him available for at least 75-80%. You knew he'd miss some games, but he was just way too much. And I think the Dallas Mavericks got tired of it. I think they decided, you know what, we're going to move him. We'll bring a couple of rotation players in here. If nothing else, it gives us cap flexibility moving forward. What is your one-word reaction to the trade involving Kristaps Porzingis to Washington and Spencer Dinwiddie to Dallas? Mine is wow. Let us know what you guys think in the comments. What's your one-word reaction? Give us some of your thoughts.
Shocker. And in doing so, by getting rid of KP, you're able to free up some money in that prohibitive contract, which long-term affects your ability to build around Luka Doncic. And yes, maybe KP and Luka were able to rehabilitate their relationship. But when they have that contentious relationship, which was reported on last year and in years prior, those things are real. Those things linger. And moving forward, you're going to build around a generational superstar, a one-of-one player in Luka. And if he wants KP out, you find a way to facilitate that. Now, as part of this KP contract being moved elsewhere, Davis Bertans is making a decent amount of money. He signed that contract a couple years ago with Washington. This year he's on the books for $16 million. His minutes down by about 10 from last year. His shooting percentage is down. But this year, $16 million, $16 million, $17 million, $16 million in 2024, 2025, becomes an unrestricted free agent in 2025. As for Spencer Dinwiddie, coming off the partially torn ACL, his numbers are down, but when he's right, he's a very good combo guard who can start or come in off the bench, and he's a very good playmaker. This year, $17 million, $18 million, 18.8 in 2023, 2024, and then he's an unrestricted free agent in 2024. So those are the cap implications here, and then Bobby Marks had this.
A lot of this ties into Jalen Brunson because they want to keep him. Bobby Marks had that note, and then also Tim McMahon adds this. The Mavs remain optimistic that they will re-sign Jalen Brunson. I've said that for weeks. They will keep him, in my opinion, because he just continues to improve year in and year out. Pistons are known to have interest and cap space for Brunson, so we'll monitor that as the trade deadline tracker is, we're running out of time here. We'll see what happens. I also am seeing from Jake Fisher that the Mavs are actively shopping Porzingis and Hardaway, both their contracts, to kind of get some flexibility because they want to keep a guy like Jalen Brunson long-term and have flexibility moving forward. You're right. The Bertans contract isn't great.
No.
It's more manageable than Porzingis' though.
But he's also a shooter on a team that needs shooters, especially if Tim Hardaway Jr. can't come back this year.
Yeah, no doubt about that. So you look back at this trade, you get Porzingis to Washington, Dinwiddie and Bertans come here. I want to talk a little bit more about Dinwiddie because he's a guy that isn't having the most efficient year coming off injury, but historically, a couple of years ago, he had his best year of his career, averaging over 20 points, got phased out because Brooklyn went with the superstar type of roster led by Kevin Durant. So you're hoping especially next year, a year removed from that injury, he can get back to that more efficient form, and he can be a 15, 18-point guy that can either start or come off the bench as a creator offensively.
Yeah, no, I like Dinwiddie when he's healthy and when he's right. And as I talked about, like, he's coming off that partially torn ACL, and I think that's impacted him to a certain degree. Now, to start the year, Spencer Dinwiddie was really good, and then he kind of tailed off, as did the Wizards. And there were some conflicting reports about him not really getting along with Bradley Beal. I don't know what this trade does for the future of Bradley Beal. It's actually kind of fascinating because I'm sure he's not happy about the situation in Washington, D.C.
Sure.
This year, Dinwiddie, 12.5 points per game. He's playing 30 minutes per, only shooting 37.5% from the floor and only 31% from distance. But with Bradley Beal hurt, the emphasis was on Dinwiddie to play make, and now that he's playing alongside Luka Doncic, does that free up some space? Does
Hopefully.
that free up some opportunities for him to kind of run that second unit with or without Luka Doncic on the floor to return to that form that he was at a couple years ago with Brooklyn prior to the acquisition of KD, Kyrie, and James Harden?
Grade the Mavericks' moves today, specifically this trade, A, B, C, D, or F. Let us know what you guys think down in the comments. Look, I for incomplete because we'll see what happens, but, I wanted it to work with KP, but it just never seemed like it was going to, Chase. Just when you thought him and Luka were on the same page on the court, he'd get hurt again.
Yeah.
And you couldn't keep doing it.
He was a unicorn with the Knicks.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that ACL injury, everything got derailed after that. It's unfortunate for him because when he's right, very good player.
Hit that subscribe button here at Dallas Mavericks Today. If you're watching on our main Chat Sports YouTube channel, youtube.com/MavsTV, subscribe for more videos here on this channel. I want to talk about Jalen Brunson. I also want to work Goran Dragic into this.
It's a bio there, Chokes.
Because we'll talk Brunson first. No, we can talk Dragic first because there's a lot of chatter. Could they get Dragic via buyout?
Yeah.
Does adding Dinwiddie change that? Because you're going to keep starting Brunson and Luka, in my opinion. I don't think Dinwiddie starts in that situation, so he's probably your bench point guard. Do you still value bringing in a guy like Dragic? Like, he's probably not going to play a ton now. If that happens, he may explore other options.
Yeah, there are contractual obligations for Goran Dragic, and then you look at the roster now. Yes, Dragic, Luka, close from Slovenia. We broke it down on an earlier video. But there's a little bit of a clogged up backcourt now by bringing in Dinwiddie. Bertans is more of a wing who shoots the three. But with Brunson now and Dinwiddie, where would Dragic fit into the equation? I'm not sure that he does now.
You could add him and cut Trey Burke. He's probably an upgrade there. But even then,
I'd rather have a Dragic over a Dinwiddie. But I think by bringing in Bertans and Dinwiddie, that matches the salary for Kristaps Porzingis. So financially, that makes sense. Maybe there's a move to come over the next couple of minutes as we have 8 minutes left until the NBA trade deadline.
Yeah, so we'll see how the buyout market shakes out now, especially for Goran Dragic. I would still be open to bringing him in. I just don't know what the role is now because you don't trade for Dinwiddie and play him less than Dragic. I just don't think you do that. So we'll
this
see
is
what
of note
happens
too.
there.
Jake Fisher, the Mavericks had been actively exploring trades to move both Tim Hardaway Jr. and Kristaps. Mark Stein, though, replied and said, indeed they were. So that's confirmation on that report.
Yeah. So look, Dallas behind the scenes had been active trying to move a couple of their bigger contracts. We'll see if Hardaway gets dealt at the buzzer here. As of now, no trade yet. If they do trade him, we will, of course, break that down. All right. This is why you subscribe. Chase and I still live on our main Chat Sports YouTube channel, youtube.com/ChatSportsTV. For more NBA coverage, come check us out. The link is down below. We'll have you guys covered throughout the deadline and beyond. Buyout market, playoffs coming up around the corner. This will be your home for NBA coverage.